lead, giving you what you need. Motivation, education unleashed. H-Town representing, we forever keep it rolling. Join the conversation with inspirational stories. Thought-provoking, feel that energy. Kendrick Thomas aiming to lift the community. True indeed, tune in, come and see. Giving you what you need. KTTV, let's go. KTTV.
Hey, what do KTTV? It's KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of Education Unleashed. And on tonight's episode, I have the man, the myth, the silencer.
What it do, bro?
Chris Milton. Officium Mentale, LLC is the name of the company. Man, how you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Look, man, I won't complain, bro. I want to say long time coming on us just connected, man. So I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. Like you said, the biggest piece is unconventional, non-traditional. And I think as we look at our surroundings, as we look at our future, as we look at what's going on, like even the Carmelo Anthony's of the world, this conversation is very needed because the things got to be switched up on the way we handle things going forward without doing meeting. So thank you for taking this time out tonight, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. We got to support each other.
Man, and before we get into this conversation, I'm glad that we're doing this because this is really dominating conversations across the country. As the concerns continue to grow about the impact of social media we talk about on young mental health, young people's mental health, many parents are asking the simple question, and schools for that matter, how do we help boys grow into emotionally healthy men in a world that's constantly shaping their identity? And so tonight, we're not just talking about therapy, we're talking about fathers, mentors, educators, coaches, and the roles that we all play, man. So I guess before we even jump into the conversation, brother, man, give us a little bit of background on you and what led you into the counseling path and ultimately starting your own practice.
Went into the military, the Marine Corps. I ended up getting injured. So that was my humbling experience in life. Before injury, I was a chauvinist. If you can't make me do something, don't think I'm going to do it. So you got to prove it to me on why I'm gonna follow you, why I'm gonna take your advice. So that's just how it was. But when I got injured and had to learn to walk and stuff, that was a humbling experience, and it played with my mental. And when you're mentally distraught, it's lonely, but it causes suffering. But through suffering, I found out is the lesson. And most people are scared of the suffering, especially men in our community. We avoid suffering. And through that, I learned how to accept what I was at that point in time and not, reminisce of what I used to be. You see what I'm saying? And once I was able to do that, I recognized my suffering was my choice. And because I had a child, I refused to allow myself to be one of those veterans that was just miserable all the time and wanting people to help them and stuff. So I had to learn to walk again. And it just helped me create a mindset of hardship is what's going to make you better. Once I did that, that's just what it was. And getting out of the military, and none of my skills translated. I was infantry, so none of my skills translated. I was disabled, couldn't walk. What was I gonna do? So I had to figure it out, and the one thing that was always on my mind was, how am I gonna act normal around people? So once I started doing that, I started learning myself. I started going to therapy. I started going to outpatient programs. And I recognized that if I got through this suffering, I could relate to a lot of people, veterans and also people in our community. But I recognize a lot of people won't be able to relate to me because I had to come so far from where most people wouldn't be. So with that understanding, now that I have to put in the work, now that I also have the education, I feel with the life experience, I can touch more people and teach them to understand that most of our people, they don't have a mental illness. They have mental injuries, and those treatments are different. Mental injuries, you have to go through some certain things. And if you think you got an illness and you start taking that medicine, you know, it messes you up. So you first got to identify if you have an illness or an injury. I have injuries. So my whole morality had to change based off of what affected me and my injuries, you know, and one of the biggest things is your emotional compass is messed up when you have a trauma. Any kind of trauma, doesn't matter. I was blown up, but any kind of real trauma, your morality was shifted. And most of us shift our emotions to our morality instead of our morality staying solid, and it affect our emotions. So that's how we get confused. And like I said, our community is so focused on the past that even our treatment is outdated. And we got so many intelligent people that are squandering their intelligence because they are comfortable in the framework that was given and not using their intellect to observe what our community actually needs. So that's my path, and that's why I've gotten into it, and that's why my practice is representing.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say for the next question was that what was that mission behind the practice, which I think you gave us a little bit of it, and then what kind of impact did you hope to have on that community?
Well, the mission is veterans, helping them reacclimate, because again, it's all about lived experiences to be able to relate. I can relate to most veterans, combat veterans. So because of that, that was my main focus. But then it just evolved in other things, because honestly, the suffering of disabled veterans and veterans coming out of the military institutionalized. So institutionalized people, no matter what institution you come from, you think the same and you operate the same. So you got the veterans that's coming out of their world into a new world. So it's erratic. There's nothing there. They have to relearn how to live. Our community connected with the veteran suffering. Our community, again, like I said, their practice is outdated. And the practice that is given out to our youth is actually hurting them because it's outdated. And then you got people from prison. Same predicament. They're coming out of another world and going into another one. That trauma of not understanding how to live in this world is why people go back, which is why our community can't see ways out of their circumstances. And then veterans, they turn into the substance or suicide. Suicide is high with the veterans, but all those things, all those communities have the same suffering.
Yeah.
So,
and I remember going through the podcast, going through a lot of like Wellness Wednesdays. But even now, when I'm talking to young men about just getting therapy, about counseling, there's still a stigma around it. And so when you're thinking about that for our men, one, have you seen a lot of that as you've been going through the steps to creating the practice, especially with our veterans? And if so, why do you think that is?
Honestly, me, I'm not really conventional, and I kind of loathe people who hold tight to conventional ways when you can clearly see things it's still burning. The house is burning. When it comes to our young boys, I really don't think it's anything outside of, we're not teaching them how to survive in reality. We are abandoning them, and we're trying to help our boys like we're helping our daughters, and their struggles are different. So when you talking to young men nowadays, you're talking to them as if they're less than, as if you don't know their struggles. Our success, and which is why there's a disconnect between older generation and younger generation. The older generation, our success has gone to our heads. Look how we treat each other. So it doesn't matter what position you're in, how you treat your circle, because your circle is what really is going to validate who you really are, and the youth is going to validate who you really are. So just because you got these titles and you've been all these years again in the mental health, in the educational field, if you've been in there 15, 20 years and you can't give me 100 people to come back and say you changed their lives, then you've been squandering your intelligence. So our young men are being spoken down to and not educated. Again, you can't educate a boy who feels that he's in war all the time, or you can't educate a boy who's emotionally unstable. Our boys are emotionally unstable because they don't understand how to deal with hardships. We need to learn how to teach our boys hardship, not how to get good grades.
Yeah.
There's segments of our community that we only focus on the so-called disenfranchised people within a disenfranchised community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that's in this community that's trying to work hard, that's trying to that's getting these good grades, where is the help for them?
Yeah.
See, so we're focusing on the wrong group of people. Some people we got to let go and let life teach them, because life will teach you. We can't save everybody. So again, the boys, we just need more structure and allow them to fail. Allow them to fail, because military taught me a lot. Our moms that are raising our sons, I understand they love them, but their love is what is damaging them. You can't protect your son in your home because you lead them to slaughter when they leave it.
Yeah.
You see, so love from a mom, even though it's powerful, our sons are being strangled by that love, and it's hurting us. So again, our sons need failure, like the Carmelo instance. I don't really get into politics because I represent everybody, and I have to stay connected with reality, because I do truly believe in what I overcame and what I teach, because I used it. So it's not hypothetical.
Yeah.
But that Carmelo Anthony thing, whatever the whole situation is, if that young man was able to control his emotions, he wouldn't be dead.
Yeah. I
agree. Wouldn't be dead.
Yeah. And so now, for me, being in the school, and one of the reasons I wrote the book was because many people, when they see that kid, they never take the time to look under the hood, right? So you see the behavior, right? You see that boy not managing emotions, but you never go too deep to see the hurt. When you think about the young men that you deal with and going through with the practice, what are some signs that young men may be struggling emotionally, even if they don't say anything?
One of the main signs when it comes to our young boys is not solitude. It's actually the class clown, the aggressor. Like, the signs are there. We look at the one that's isolated, and you still pay attention to that one, but it's the ones that's actually giving you evidence that that's not really their character. If you know a child, and again, that goes with the older generation. If you're not spending time with the youth, really spending time with the youth, you can't identify the youth's personality. So if you can't identify their personality, you don't know when they're hurting. There isn't a linear or a template to identify hurt, because all trauma is different. But the one thing you can do when it comes to our children is spending time with them. it's real easy to tell when somebody is hurting if you know their baseline, their personality. So that's what we're talking about, spending time and not preaching and talking down to them. And the more we spend time with our youth, our wisdom, the men who made something of themselves struggled. And with struggle, you only through struggle, you're going to get wisdom. So our boys need to go through hardship because hardship creates wisdom. So when the older generation is talking to the younger generation, hey, you need to stop doing that, get the good grades and go to school. How is that helping them?
Yeah.
You see, so the intent might be there, but what we're doing, again, we keep going with this outdated solutions, and it's only enraging the youth because it's like, how y'all do not understand or see what we went through or what we're going through. So it's signs, but honestly, it takes genuine help and getting to know these kids to be able to help them before they get out of hand.
And with that, I think about just dealing with kids, going through some of the young boys that I'm doing in the mentor, and so a lot of them are taught to hide their emotions, right? Don't show vulnerability. That shows weakness.
Mm-hmm.
As we look at what we need to change to be able to help them learn how to emotions, why do you think even in this day and age we are still teaching young boys to hide their emotions, to not look weak, or because that's what they feel?
Because our older generation hasn't evolved from what was told to us as kids. Yeah. We regurgitate these talking points, and we don't add life experiences to those talking points.
Yeah.
So again, we're hurting ourselves. And if we are not able to honestly communicate about what is really going on in our community, then we're putting Band-Aids on stuff, and we're going to continue to lose the youth. What is really going on? And if you really want to help the youth, you got to be honest with yourself. So, and that's the only thing I can really say as men, because as men in our community, we don't control the family. We don't control anything. So for our boys, if you're a stepdaddy or a daddy or a mentor, you got to get permission. You can't go up to no random kid and give him life lessons. Why?
Yeah.
You go to jail.
Yeah.
That part needs to go away. Mm-hmm. And the only way that goes away is how? How?
Legislation.
You see? Not even legislation. Yeah. That's another issue. We always wait for legislation. When if we are the foundation, if we are the spear, the tip of the spear, why aren't we doing what we need to do as a community? So that legislation is what is it called? A pawn. Like, I'll get to it later. But you putting that in the hands of other people when we are men. We're men. And if we love this community, and forget the community. Let's make it even more personal. If you're a father, do you want your children living in this environment? So if you got children, you don't need the education because a father went through hardships. He has wisdom. So again, it's we got to have some truth in this, and we have to restore balance when it comes to our children, because this model from the 50s is the reason why our community is still suffering.
Most definitely. All right, so now what I want to do, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, I want to dive deeper into the role of just the male itself, because you alluded to a few pieces, but then, like I said, I got a few questions to see if we can just go deeper, because like we said in the intro, this is not just simply about therapy, but it's about our fathers, our coaches, and our mentors. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to get into the role of the male inside. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the episode of Education Unleashed. I'm here with my brother, Chris Milton, man. So, tell us the name of the business.
Officium Mentale.
Lab. So
Yes,
now,
lab.
before we jump back to this conversation, you got to give me a background on that real quick.
You know, again, doing research and understanding, because I'm a veteran, I had to figure out how to create income. So I had to create my company, my practice as a contractor, government contractor. So in order to get noticed, I recognized through my research, Latin names get respected more. So that's why I chose that.
Yeah, there we go. Hey.
That's why I chose that.
Now, jumping back into the conversation, man, being in Omega, a lot of our work is with the young boys, trying to bring others up to be our future lamplighters, to be anything of that sort. But it all starts with us, as you talked a little bit about earlier, with that older generation and the older men. Now, my birthday next week, I'm about to be 46. I would consider myself an older man. Older men, what responsibility do we have in helping this next generation?
The responsibility we have is to share our life experiences.
Okay. So that's it.
And in order to share our life experiences, we have to go into the dark places to reach these kids that live there. Because even in the dark places doesn't mean everybody is corrupt.
Yeah.
But as men, we can't be sitting around talking about how our community is messed up, and you can't go out here and see not really one group of people consistently doing something. And I have issues with it because I have issues with repetitiveness, especially when it's not working.
Yeah.
So again, since I've been alive, the same help that was given to me as a child is still trying to be forced down these kids' throat. So as men, we have to have the courage to tear things down and rebuild them based off of life experiences. Because most of us that's in the work now, we wasn't alive in the 50s. And if you were alive in the 50s, you need to sit home. They are elderly. They need to be protected by us too. Our youth and elderly needs to be protected by us, and they're not. So again, if we really want to help these kids, we got to go out there. What functions go out into the middle of the ghetto that we can honestly say is really geared to helping the people that's there that's suffering? Because we can go there, take some pictures, and most of us go back to our 5-bedroom houses and use those pictures as if we did good. And then next month we do the same thing. Nah, if that's what it is, say that's what it is. But don't say we out here helping people.
Yeah.
The message needs to be consistent.
Yeah, come on, man. Now, one place of that is in schools, right? And so schools are where we often first notice students struggling, right? Because you come to school, I see you a lot. I see you maybe sometimes more than your parents, especially if they're single parents and they work. I know my mama was 3 to 11. I'm asleep when she get there, and the next morning I wake up. Mama, you home? And I'm going to school. So, what role should schools play in supporting boys' mental health and this emotional health?
Nothing.
Okay. Talk to me.
Nothing. The mental health comes at home. See, that's where that school is the same thing as legislation. But men, what are we doing? We can't keep going to the schools and saying the schools need to do something. Let's get this legislation. Let's go out here and knock on these doors and vote. None of that's been working. It's been 50, we didn't even go that far. 30 years. None of this stuff has changed our community, and our youth is getting not even left behind. Our youth is getting ignored because they're still moving forward.
The hardest part about that, and what I've seen in my experience, is a lot of the times in the home or in that community, there are no males. So then we lean on the football coaches, right? We got to lean on the assistant principals, that's the males, or we lean on the male teachers. But a lot of the times it's nobody at that house. And so, man, that's a whole episode in itself of just saying how do we even begin to put that piece back.
You know, honestly though, men also gotta be able to live with who they really are. Because a lot of us put a facade out, and our youth, especially if you got kids, if you're not being authentically yourself and you're raising your kids based off of what you think is right, then you're causing injury because your kid internally is going through what you're hiding. And since you're hiding it, your child isn't learning how to deal with it. You see, and that injury starts to get bigger and bigger, and now it goes inwards because what's wrong with me? Mom and dad don't act like this. No, but mom and dad is older and they're able to hide it. But as a man, you obligated to show who you really are because your seed needs to understand your positive and your negative, your strengths and your weaknesses. And if you hide it, again, you're setting your seed up for failure.
Yeah. And now so putting it back on the house, right? And saying, okay, a lot of this has to start in my role as an administrator. And maybe you can help me with this a lot. When should I, as that administrator or as that teacher, encourage that family to reach out to somebody like you so you can start next foot in the house?
Honestly, as an administrator, I'm not going to say the school doesn't have a role, but in order to honestly give help as an administrator, you need to be able to at least identify the 20 kids that you feel is struggling and get to know them. Because again, you have to really get to know their personality to identify if they're struggling or not. Just because they're in poverty doesn't mean they're struggling. See, again, we're getting the struggle word and pasting it on everything. Yeah. If you get to know somebody that's in a situation where they don't make enough money, doesn't mean they're struggling. But it also means that they don't have resources to get out of it. So in order to spend time with the people or with these children, you got to create something that brings comfort so they know they can come talk to you. Because again, the adult in their lives most of them probably, I'm not gonna say that, but the adults that they might have in their life has let them down. So as an adult outside of their circle, you got to earn their trust. How are we earning these kids' trust? So that's what I would say about as an assistant principal or principal. That's part of the job. You got to know these kids before you can help them. Yeah,
man. In our district, where we say meaningful relationships equal meaningful work.
Yes.
But nothing too much goes on without that relationship. And so that's why I kind of wrote that book, man, because it really talks about 5 ways that I help teachers kind of strengthen that relationship. One with their student, but also self-reflecting to make them check themselves at the door. But then also, how do you create that structure with their family to be able to be more comfortable to get in to learn that student on a deeper level, man? So all connected, but everything is springboarded off building that relationship.
Yeah, and even with we'll go back with legislation also, because I'm not dismissing it, but what I'm saying, it shouldn't be the focal point. Honestly, when our administrators or schools or even the teachers identify the youth, there has to be some kind of system to be like, if it doesn't get corrected, child gets out the home.
Yeah.
And get into a structured like military school that provides structure for these children. Like we got a lot of millionaires, especially here in Houston. Like we should be able to create a military school type format that if your kids go through and make hardships for other kids that's learning or put harm on teachers or something like that, hey, let's go to this school right here. And you'll never go home, because your help, your work, my work, people who do work, you do it, and it gets redundant. because you still got to send them home. And the home is the reason why you got to put in so much work. So it cancels each other out.
Yeah.
You don't get no help if you're putting the product back in harm's way. So we got to identify these kids to help them, and not just help them, take them out of the environment that's creating their situation. Because no matter what, they're children. We can't keep putting everything on these children, because the environment that their parents put them in or keep them in is the reason why they are the way that they are. And it goes back to the father. It goes back to the father. We have to do something.
And see, that's the hardest part, man, because like for me in my role, I've never met my dad before, like one of those type of students. And so then my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my great great grandmother were all alive at the same time. And so I did have my granddad, and so I'm very thankful for that piece. But some people don't have that, and so then they go through that whole piece with nothing but women, and I feel like that helps or not helps. Sometimes it hinders, because those make you more emotional creatures or more emotional beings. And so I think for kids and for anybody who needs to hear that, when we think of building better men, it has to be some kind of healthy masculinity somewhere in the vicinity. And so, in your opinion, just dropping jewels on somebody, what does healthy masculinity look like to you?
I don't know what unhealthy masculinity is.
Yeah.
The healthy masculinity. No, see, and that's another thing. We get words and definitions mixed up.
Yeah.
I understand when people say toxic masculinity. That's not masculinity. A man isn't intimidated by a woman. So a man wouldn't put his hands on a woman, no matter what she does to him, because the consequence. Yeah. If you put your hands on that woman, what is the consequence? So a man understands that. He understands that because he has his seed to take care of. Yeah. See what I'm saying? So look. Yeah, I can't really pinpoint that, because I don't want to be, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like some stuff I can't speak on, because I represent everybody. So I try to place blame on both sides, because there's blame on both sides. And I say most of the blame falls on us, which is why women can create this toxic masculinity stuff. One, because they didn't have fathers. So again, the definition of masculinity is nothing negative about it, just like there's nothing negative about femininity. It's the in-betweens that cause the negative. So if everybody played a part, whatever your spirituality is, follow the part that your creator told you to follow, and our children will be okay. So masculinity is, that I will say this. There's a difference between a male and a man, just like there's a difference between a lady and a woman.
Most definitely.
Males, there's a need for males. Males are the safe. They create structure. They create the home, the foundation. Men are the ones that really sacrifice. Like most men in today's society will be alone. Why? Because you most of your thoughts to help the community will go against your woman. Will go against your woman. And most men don't want to be alone. So you're a male. And if you're a male, act like a male. Stay home. Get in these streets, get in these barber shops. You see what I'm saying? Men, we have to be more aggressive. Because again, our boys, they don't have an example. What is a male? What is a man? And how do I fit? And what category do I fit in comfortably? Because most of our youth even the troubled ones. You see when they get arrested and so they break down and cry, they don't know who they are. So they're being pushed into a direction that, again, causes mental injury.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in that toxic stuff. All we need is men. Men. That's all we need is men, and we need the moms and the women to allow men to have the power to correct stuff.
Yeah.
Because don't confuse a man with a male. Don't confuse a male with a thug. Mm-hmm. We are all different. We're all different, and we all have roles in this community. The thug has a role. If the thug had a different mentality, it would be productive in the community. But why don't they have a different mentality? Men ain't around doing what they're supposed to do, and men don't have the power to do what they're supposed to do. Because I know how much work you put in, and if you was able to have a green light to get all those children you work with in school and put them into a program that within a year to 2 years, their lives will transition into something positive and the community will be taken care of. It doesn't take 15, 20 years to correct the community. The community can correct itself in 5 years. 5 years, correct itself. And also, we got to be willing to let people go. There's certain age groups that we focus on that we don't need to focus on anymore. Life needs to take over for them. But it's the youth. It's the youth.
Yeah, and that's what I did so much of my work in elementary, because it's like now I'm in high school, alternative school, like a lot of them, they already made their decisions up. Just saying this week, man, one of my kids is in trouble in the hospital, while another one is in critical. But just guns, right? Fighting that turns into shootings, man. Mm-hmm. So it is real out here. But what gives you hope? As we had this conversation tonight, what gives you hope about the next generation of young men?
Gives me hope. Yeah, I don't operate off of hope. Why would I hope? Why would I hope for anything? Yeah. Again, that's the legislation part. Hope is hope has nothing to do with action. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with action. And like I said, while I have my practice, I plan on trying to create affordable mental health counseling, or what's it called? Yeah, mental health counseling. I want to partner up with local colleges and universities, because as a student also, I can't say I'm a doctor because I don't have my license yet. So I'm still in the practice of that. I will have my license in 2029. But in the meantime, my company will be the intermediary. We will connect the people. And like I said, the veterans, see, all of it's connecting. Veterans have a lot of help, but we don't know how to get it. Mm-hmm. The community, no matter what the race is, if you're in a disenfranchised community, you don't have the opportunity to get help. You see, and then also the convict, they are shamed in getting help. So I want my company partner up with students at universities, give them credit to work in a community center with me, and start getting certain communities, people in the community, to go to an actual building to sit down and talk to somebody. Counseling, mental health, money. Again, just a nice center where people can come and actually get help. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to get a mobile truck also and just park somewhere and come on and talk pay $50 and talk to a professional. The professionals are students, and they're getting actual credit and going towards their doctoral. So I want to partner up with schools, because then that helps the therapists, the students who want to be counselors, psychologists and stuff. They get actual work in helping, and their knowledge evolves to be able to touch more people. See, even as a student, my lived experience helped me see a lot of stuff. Even as a student, most of the work we do it doesn't really work, and people burn out. They burn out because you're not even getting satisfaction from it. But if you're in the trenches at school, you can articulate what you did, and you can go to your teacher and get bounce back ideas. And once you get through that program, you know, you're a better therapist also, but you also help people. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring a bridge of help, actual help, into the community where, you know, we're touching people, and we will know people's first name, and eventually we'll know the struggle of that family. Because what I got a program where we were talking about it. I want to introduce the program in the school where we provide counseling. We won't say therapy. We provide counseling, but in order for that child to get into it, mom and dad has to be there.
Yeah.
Mom and dad has to be there.
Full service. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's both their responsibilities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, thinking about our future, if every young man watching this interview remember one thing from our conversation, what would you want it to be?
Don't be scared of failure. Don't be scared of failure. Don't be scared to hurt. Don't be scared to bleed. Don't be scared, because being scared, the morality, most of us was raised by women like you. My grandmother had 13. I was raised by the majority of women, you know. I had to learn what a man was by going to the military. I am an advocate of people going to the military, especially our people. And it not everybody, but most need to go to the military because you got to go through some kind of struggle. Our boys do not need to be in these classes 8-9 hours. Like most of our boys right now, we need to be focused on sending them to trade, work with their hands. Because if you're working with your hands, you get pride. Yeah. And once you get pride, you see what I'm saying? Your eyes open up to the possibility. Mm-hmm. So that's just how I look at that.
Most definitely, man. Okay, what we're gonna do? We're gonna take one more break.
Okay.
And when we get back, man, I got some rapid fire questions I want to pop at you. I don't want you to think about it, just shoot it. And then after that, we're gonna close this thing out, man. But we'll take one quick break. And then we'll be right. All right, y'all, welcome back to this episode of Education Unleashed. I am here with my brother, Chris Milton, Root, Buzz in the house. Chris took a little quick break. Well, was on the extended break right there. But Officium Mentale, LLC is the name of the practice. As you talked about a lot of the good work that he's doing, I am very interested in making sure that we get this work into schools with those parents. But now, are you ready for this rapid fire section, brother?
Hey, are you ready? You know, you can hit me with them.
Go hard, or go home, go home, go hard, go hard, or go home.
All right, here we go, man. Don't think about it, just react. What is one word that describes today's generation?
Soft.
Ooh. One book every man should read.
Excuse me?
One book every man should read.
Art of War.
Look, I was thinking 48 Laws. I knew you were going to say something up in there, man. It's you, bro. If I didn't know, then look, we would spend all that time. But I knew it was going to be something along those lines. Who influenced you the most growing up?
Who influenced me the most?
Yeah.
Who? I don't have an influence. I don't have one.
Okay. Morning or night person?
Night.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
What's your favorite way to recharge?
Swimming.
Damn, why I have to know all of that, man. One life lesson you wish every 18-year-old knew.
What life lesson?
Yeah, one life lesson you wish every 18-year-old knew.
Pain is temporary.
That's powerful right there. One thing you're most excited about with the new practice.
Getting rewarded, helping people. I look forward to that.
All right, finish this sentence. Strong men
lead.
Okay, talk that talk, man. Look, that's it, bro. That's it for the rapid fire section. You covered them. You thought about them a little bit longer than I thought you was going to.
Yeah. You see, I still got to be professional. I don't want people to turn around like, see, he crazy. He crazy.
Look, man. So now, as we get ready to close this thing, I want to just put one more scenario out here. Imagine a 15-year-old young man is watching this conversation tonight. He's struggling, but nobody knows. Maybe he feels like he has to carry everything on his own. What would you want to say directly to that young man?
You said 15?
Yeah.
Whatever you're struggling with isn't your struggle. It's not your struggle. Man. It's not your struggle. You feel like it's your struggle, sit with it. The more you sit with it, the less energy it has. The more you run from it, the more it's going to chase you. But no matter what, once you recognize that is not your struggle, you will be free. You'll be lighter. Nothing is your problem until you become an adult. It's not your problem.
Now, speaking of the adults, imagine a father, coach, teacher, or mentor is watching. What would you say to them?
Spend time with your charge. A coach is a coach. But you got to be more in tune with your players outside of the sport that they play. If you don't know your players, you're not really a coach. You're just a manager. Once they leave your field, once you leave your field, once they leave your court, you still send them out there to be slaughtered. So be present. Let that child feel comfortable to come to you and be like, "Can I sleep on your couch?" You know, if that's how I look at it. When somebody can come to me honestly in their vulnerable moments, that's how I know I made a difference. And if you're in these positions and you can't identify a vulnerable moment, change your route up, because you're just wasting your time. Because men out there that's doing it, they're doing it, but you're wasting your time and opportunity to help.
Wait, why that boy dropping jewels on tonight, man? Well, look, man, I want to thank you for joining today and sharing not only your professional expertise, but your heart for helping young men and families. For me, I believe one of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is our boys don't just need correction, they need connection, right? And so they need fathers who are present, teachers who believe in them, coaches who challenge them, mentors who listen, and communities that remind them that they are seen, valued, and capable of greatness. For me, as an educator and a leader, I understand that we all have a role to play in playing that next generation, preparing the next generation. And so not just academically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so I would just say for anybody that's out there that's listening to this, if today's conversation encouraged you or challenged you or made you think differently, I encourage you to share this episode with someone else. Send it to a father, a coach, a teacher, a pastor, a mentor, because the conversation is what can make the difference in a young man's life. So before we leave, brother, tell us, how can we get locked in with you? How can we learn more about the business?
You can reach me at officiummentale.org or contact officiummentale@gmail.com, or you can get with my brother right here and he'll get you in contact with me, because again, we're local, we're trying to help. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not. If you truly want help, you can contact us and we're going to develop a plan uniquely for you, because we're going to take our time to learn you. We don't give templates. We're going to focus on what we're going to identify if you're really hurting or you're carrying pain that's not yours. And once we identify that, I promise you, I don't know what it is, but you'll understand when you're in hell. And when you understand you're in hell, you'll understand hell is a door. It only has one door. Either you're going to walk through the door, or you're going to suffer. But you'll be able to understand your suffering is your choice. You don't have to suffer. And we'll teach you how to do that.
Man, that is it, man. So, like I said, as we land this plane, please remember, everybody, the future of our community is sitting in today's classrooms, walking today's hallways, and looking at today's adults for guidance. Let's be the kind of people who help them become who they are created to be. Once again, shout out to my guest tonight, my brother, Chris Milton. This is KT, that's up, KPTV, signing out. 100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood.
This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching.
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
KT.